Our anime begins with a young man named Kelvin, and we learn that he has been summoned to a different world than his original one. But as soon as he wakes up from sleep, he finds himself in the middle of a forest where he doesn't know anything, and he also doesn't remember anything from his past memories. So he starts talking to himself, saying, "Where am I? What brought me here?" At that moment, a flying paper appears in front of him in the air. He doesn't know where it came from, but the word "Let's begin" is written on it. Kelvin's curiosity increases, and he steps on it to see what happens. Then, a female voice appears in the background and informs him that he has just been transferred to this new world and starts telling him everything about himself, that he was summoned to the world of sorcerers and that he won't remember anything at all from his old world. Kelvin screams because he truly doesn't remember anything, but there's no other solution before him except to listen to her. And we learn that this girl's name is Melfiana, but she informs him that she can't appear to him right now and that a time will come when she will appear to talk with him face to face. But until that moment comes, he must follow her instructions. She also tells him that for that moment to happen, he needs to have a high rank of magic, and until he reaches it, she will follow along with him all the time and everything. And she asks him to go to the city to join the Sorcerers Guild. So Kelvin heads to the city and is amazed by everything he sees before him. But Melfiana keeps talking to him until he reaches the guild. There, he meets the receptionist, whose name is Anji, and he requests a membership form from her. She gives him a form to fill out his data, but he was about to make the mistake of his life by writing that he was summoned from another world. Anji stops him and asks him to write a different attribute, because if he were a summoner, the city's rulers would find out and draw attention to him, and if that happened, he would face many problems. So he quickly catches himself and writes himself down as a regular sorcerer, but his luck turns out that he has the lowest magic rank. Kelvin is surprised and asks her why his rank is so low. They find out that any sorcerer who registers at their guild, no matter what their rank was outside, starts from 0 with them. In simple terms, it's like someone who just entered kindergarten and has to start from the beginning. But she reassures him that he can get promoted in rank as soon as he completes a few initial tasks, and his rank will increase over time. As soon as Kelvin hears these words, he gets very excited and asks her to give him many tasks. But Anji presents him with exactly 3 tasks and tells him to choose only one from among them. Among these tasks were the slime monsters, which was the easiest task among them, and as she says, very easy. That's why Anji advises him to accept this task so he can finish it quickly and get promoted faster. After he receives the tools he needs from her, he goes to the slime location, but the fool, when he sees them, underestimates them without calculating everything and attacks them all at once. There were 3 of them. 2 of them run away, and 1 keeps attacking him, and because he still doesn't comprehend what he's doing, he can't defeat her easily, and even Melfiana blames him for not planning before attacking them. But Kelvin was very distinguished in that he had determination and enthusiasm, which is why he quickly got up and went back to attack the slime until he defeated her. After Melfiana asks him to analyze the slime with his analysis eye, which helps him know the strength of any enemy in front of him. At that moment, Kelvin concentrates intensely until he finds out what the slime's abilities are, and Melfiana advises him to make a contract with the slime to document this moment at the guild. So Kelvin listens to her and makes the contract with the slime, because at that moment, the slime enters his body and supplements him with its strength. Here, Melfiana informs him that he can talk to the slime as long as it is in his body, give it orders, and ask for its help at any time. After he executes everything, Melfiana informs him that he must defeat the remaining slimes for his first task to be counted. So he pulls himself together and goes to search for the 2 remaining ones, and as soon as he finds them, he asks the slime with him to come out and help him in the fight. The matter doesn't take long, and he manages to defeat the 3 slimes and makes a contract with them. When he returns to the guild to prove everything he did, he is surprised that his points have increased, and he also receives money in exchange for these tasks. On this happy occasion, they decide to look for a place to stay until he finally finds a hotel. There he meets Claire, a simple girl just getting by. She is the jack of all trades at the hotel, and so she doesn't get surprised. She remains the only one working there too. He starts getting to know her and asks her to bring him food. He goes up to relax in his room a bit and keeps talking with Melfiana the whole time until Claire brings him the food. After a while, he goes out to see how far Claire has gotten, and he is surprised that she has prepared a veritable feast for him alone. He keeps eating as if he hasn't eaten for a whole year. after he is full, he focuses again and thanks Melfiana for bringing him to this world and promises her that he will be worthy of her trust all the time. The important thing is that at this moment, he starts taking on many tasks to the degree that he rises in rank quickly, and this attracted everyone's attention to him. When he goes to the guild to receive the new task, he notices everyone looking at him in astonishment, talking about him, and he hears them asking each other how he wins all the tasks without having a team to help him. Of course, they don't know that he came from another world and his true power hasn't reached him yet. The important thing is, Anji advises him to change his tools because he has been using them for a whole week and definitely needs better tools because everyone he will face from now on will be stronger than before. And as they are talking, a sorcerer named Cashel enters upon them and tells them he wants Kelvin to join him in his team, but this doesn't please Kelvin at all. He proposes that they enter a challenge against each other, and if he wins, he will join him. Cashel is very surprised by Kelvin's approach, but he agrees to the challenge, and they determine the place where they will fight, which is the royal palace in the middle of the city. But Cashel was very cunning. He didn't agree to tell him his real rank, and this made Kelvin look at him in surprise because they know his power and rank very well. And because of this, we learn that Cashel intends to do something or deceive Kelvin, but he doesn't know that Kelvin is more cunning than him and managed to analyze his level through his eye and found out what his rank and power are like. And when he suggests to Cashel that they face each other in a different place, Cashel refuses. So Kelvin tells him that he won't face him unless his team is complete. Kelvin's excessive confidence is what will lead him into trouble because he becomes happy that he will face a sorcerer like him. At that time, Anji warns him about this challenge because no one has been able to defeat Cashel before, especially at the royal palace. But Kelvin was looking at the matter from another angle, which is that he benefits from all aspects. If he wins, he rises in rank quickly, and from another angle, he will know what level he has reached now. On the other side, we see Cashel going to his team to gather them, but they warn him about Kelvin because he can hide his power data very well, and they haven't been able to determine what his power is like until now. Finally, the day of the face-off arrives, and we see everyone waiting for this challenge impatiently. But as soon as Cashel and his team arrive, they are surprised by corpses everywhere and wonder who committed all this massacre until Kelvin appears to them from behind the wall and informs them that not only is he here, but he also tells them that he will face the Black Knight as well, so they can defeat him together. Let's face each other quickly so I can meet the Black Knight. This guy is either overly confident in himself or a fool. If he doesn't even start, it's over for him. And he tells them that he knows he is an escapee from prison, so they think, for example, that the guild appointed him to arrest them or even to win a reward. But he replies to them that he came to defeat the Black Knight and get promoted in rank. He has no time for their nonsense talk. His words seem to provoke them like this, and they get up and attack him. And when the bulky one among them tries to hit Kelvin, he knocks him down with one blow, and this makes them more afraid of him, and one of them tries to escape from the place. But Kelvin summons his slime to help him, so it rises up in front of him, and its shape is bulkier than before. And here we go back a flashback 1 week when he was fighting in the last battle, and at that time he saw the slime when it was very large, so he was startled by its shape. But Melfiana informed him that as long as the slime wins in battles, its size keeps getting bigger and bigger. We return to the present again, and we see the slime running after the sorcerer. As for Kelvin, he goes back to attack the bulky one again until he knocks him into a kind of pit, and here everyone is surprised by his great strength, but they can't do anything else against him. And after this big night, he manages to defeat all of them. Kelvin's confidence in himself increases. He knows he is ready to face the Black Knight, and at that moment, the decisive moment comes. As soon as he sees the knight, he finds his size is very huge, so he knows his power is great, and he is supposed to flinch and be a little afraid of him, but not at all. At this moment, he has given his heart and is carrying his mind on his shoulder. He gets even more and more excited and becomes greedy to rise in rank quickly without taking anyone into account. So he proposes to the Black Knight to make a contract with him, but the knight makes him sit with him, and they keep laughing and joking until morning. Even the knight himself sits and tells him from the day he was appointed as the king's personal guard and his story, and he learns that one day a king came and offered him to join him and be under his command, but the king of their city refused, and from that time he was controlled by all kinds of corruption. So the city transformed from the most beautiful one around to one where many people die without any reason, until the king's wife died. But before she died, she entrusted him with her daughter, daughter, whom he couldn't take care of, and she died too. And from that time, he has been taking care of the palace until the new king arrives, who can liberate them from the corruption. The important thing is that Kelvin asks him and tries to make a contract agreement with him, but the knight refuses, and this makes Kelvin feel very underestimated by him, and he tells him that he was going to make the contract with him without knowing his true level, and he asks him for a duel to prove this to him. And at that moment, they start a big fight together. But relative to Kelvin's size compared to the knight's, he is considered weak. Because of this, he summons his slime and makes it grow in size again, and its strength joins his strength, and they attack the knight with one blow, so they manage to defeat him at that moment. The knight submits to Kelvin's strength, and they manage to make the contract with him. The next day, Kelvin returns to the guild with proof that he defeated the Black Knight. When the sorcerers there see him, they are shocked that he managed to defeat them so easily, and he even managed to arrest Cashel and his gang, whom we see thrown in a cell, and the guard tells them to wait for the death sentence. We return again to Kelvin, and we see Anji, who is happy for him, and informs him that the guild master himself wants to meet him after hearing about him. Kelvin is happy with this news and goes up to meet the master. While he is going up the stairs, we see Melfiana, the slime, and the Black Knight talking to him, but they annoy him with their excessive talking, so he silences them. But he notices an old man standing on the stairs, so Kelvin stops in front of him and doesn't know who he is. When Kelvin approaches him, he finds that he knows everything about him, even the ranks he has been increasing quickly, and the impossible tasks that no one from the sorcerers can complete. But when Kelvin checks his own data, he finds his rank is 1000. This means he can uncover the truth easily and won't be able to lie to him about being a summoner, and so on. They go in and sit together in the hall, and they ask the man about the summoning that happened to him. He doesn't know what to tell him, but Melfiana and the Black Knight inform him that he won't be able to stay hidden forever, and inevitably, one day, from the days, he will be exposed. So it's better for him not to lie now. Indeed, Kelvin tells the man that he is summoned from another world, but he asks about Cashel, who was a criminal, and he didn't agree to arrest him. The old man informs them that Cashel is from another country, and he couldn't arrest him without clear evidence. And now that he has been arrested, they have the evidence, so no one can prosecute or convict them. But now they will judge him, and he will take his punishment. Then he starts telling him a story about the Demon King, who will be resurrected anew, and they don't know if they will be able to face him or not, and he asks him to join them to fight him when he appears. So Kelvin understands that they want him to fight demons, and it's not their intention at all for him to get promoted in rank or to defeat other teams. The whole story is that he came from another world to fulfill his prophecy, and they inform him that he also came from another world, and that they surely saw something in him, but none of them remembers the other. And he reassures him from his side that if he joins them, he will have absolute freedom in anything he chooses. He won't be restricted, meaning by something he did, and also, he will help him become above all the sorcerers. And, in addition, he can take revenge on someone else. Kelvin becomes very happy when he hears this offer and agrees to all the conditions. But I forgot to tell you something important. This old man is the guild master. When Kelvin returns to the hotel, he finds that Claire has learned about everything that happened, and she is happy that he managed to get promoted to this rank so quickly. He is surprised that she found out so quickly, and they learn that all the young people younger than him, the city, have started talking about him. They have nothing but stories about him, and she is very happy for him, to the degree that she throws a party for him tonight. Kelvin becomes very happy because he will eat her delicious food that no one can resist its taste. But he remembers that he hasn't had lunch, and because of that, he asks her to prepare him lunch while he changes his clothes. Kelvin goes up to the room and keeps talking with Melfiana and the Black Knight inside, who never stop talking at all. The problem is that they are talking about Claire, who is coming up the stairs and hears them. The important thing is that Kelvin sits to have lunch and asks Melfiana about what the guild master told him, and he doesn't understand the meaning of the Demon King, why he has to fight him, and he is afraid that he is being dragged into the matter. But Melfiana reassures him that this is a prophecy from long ago and has no relation to him at all. So Kelvin sleeps on the bed and starts remembering the battles he entered and asks himself why he is the one walking alone all the time. And because of that, he asks the slime to bring out money from what it has, so it gives him a bag full of money. He sees it and becomes very happy with it. So he decides to go down to the market to shop. While he is walking on the way, Melfiana asks him what he wants to buy, so he tells her that he wants to buy a slave. He is happy like this, but the Black Knight and Melfiana don't know why he wants to do this. So he explains to them that he wants to buy the slave to train her, And at that time, he will get promoted in rank and add her to the team. And they think that he saw this slave in the market before, but he didn't have money on one hand, and on the other hand, he didn't have a rank that allowed him to buy her. And when he collected the money, his heart became set and he decided to buy her now. And he keeps wandering in the market, searching for her until he reaches the alley where he saw her. He finds someone there who wants to buy her, and he is getting burned. And when he asks the merchant, they learn that anyone who approaches to buy this slave, the curse on her will befall them and they will get burned. So Kelvin searches for her data and finds a strong curse on her. And when he asks Melfiana what she knows about the dragon's curse, she tells him that there is no spell that can break it except the holy spell. So Kelvin decides to leave and come back to her again. As for the merchant, he blames himself for buying this slave and that he won't be able to sell her again because of the curse on her. But after a while, Kelvin arrives and asks him to buy her. The merchant is surprised and keeps warning him about her. But Kelvin throws a bag full of money into his hand and asks him to take her out of the cell so he can take her with him. When Kelvin approaches the girl, he finds her scared and sad. So the merchant informs her that she now belongs to Kelvin from now on. She is surprised that someone decided to buy her and free her. She walks and doesn't understand why he is doing this with her, but it's enough that she saw the light for the first time in a long time. After they walk a bit, they get to know each other. And her name is Ethel, and she asks him why he bought her specifically. So he tells her that he needs a girl like her to train her and add her to his team, but she feels that she will drag him into problems because of her curse. So he starts talking to her and asks her since when she has been a slave. They learn that all she remembers is that she was sold from a young age, and from that day, she doesn't know anything except a life of slavery. But because of the curse on her, no one was buying her, and she advises him to leave her, to stay away from her, so she doesn't harm him. But Kelvin decides to get close to her and asks her to trust him, and when he places his hand on her head, the curse breaks, and at that moment, she is freed from it. Even when he was removing the iron from her hands, he completely reassures her from his side. So Ethel is affected because this is the first time something like this happens to her, and she becomes free to move as she pleases without restrictions, and she keeps crying while thanking him, and Kelvin returns to the hotel. As soon as Claire sees the girl with him, she gets upset because her appearance is not good. So Kelvin informs her that she will be staying with them from now on. So Claire decides to take her to clean her up and give her a bit of polishing first, and then return her to him because she won't allow her to enter his room unless she is clean. So Ethel reaches her hand out to Claire and is afraid the curse is still active and will harm her. But Kelvin reassures her, and at that moment, Ethel holds Claire's hand, but Claire believes her and takes her into the bathroom and informs Kelvin that she won't return her to him until she cleans her. As for Kelvin, he goes to sit at the table waiting for dinner, but many hours pass and Claire hasn't prepared the food yet, nor have she and Ethel appeared until he finds them coming out. So they watch Claire looking at Ethel after she has been cleaned up. And Kelvin is amazed as soon as he sees Ethel and is even dazzled by her sweetness. His face turns red like this. As for Claire, she informs him that she will enter the kitchen to prepare dinner and return to him quickly, so Ethel goes to prepare it with her. And after a while, Kelvin has dinner with Ethel, who is eating good food like this for the first time. And Kelvin takes her with him to his room too and introduces her to Melfiana, the Black Knight, and the Slime. He even tells her everything about his life and that he came summoned from another world. Everything was fine, and there were no problems until bedtime came. We see Ethel sleeping with Kelvin on the same bed, and he doesn't like anyone sleeping next to him, and he is annoyed that he had asked Claire to prepare a bed for her in a room and hadn't taken Ethel into account at all. So he is forced to let her sleep next to him and endure until he finds a solution to the matter. A month passes on this matter, especially since the day Ethel joined Kelvin. She kept training with him every day until her strength increased and her archery skills became higher, and she learned almost everything, even sewing itself. He taught her, and she started entering with him every day and helping him in battles. The important thing is that they managed to win in new battles, and this is their 9th battle. And it is expected that if Kelvin manages to win in the next battle, it will be the 10th for him, and at that time, his rank will become 1000 as well, and he will be able to enter the trial test that is held for sorcerers. But Ethel is still not quite ready, and this makes her worried that she couldn't help Kelvin. But our friend reassures her that she will be fine with training to make it easier for her. She informs her that there is a new ice cream shop that opened, and she suggests that they go out together. Of course, this matter didn't please Kelvin very much, because as a man, he sees these things as trivial, but he decides to go out with them. When they go out, he feels like he is on a romantic date, and this is the first time he does something like this, and he feels strange about the matter because he will meet Anji, and especially since Ethel is not out with them because she decided to train alone. When they arrive, Anji asks about her, so Kelvin informs her that she stayed to train in the house. so she feels that she is taking the matter a bit seriously. But it doesn't take long, and they find Ethel coming to them, but her appearance is very beautiful, and this made both of them shocked by her beauty, standing stunned in front of her, and they go to sit in a restaurant to eat, so people notice them, and at that moment, they are surprised that Kelvin now has 2 girls with him in a short period, and they can't even find one girl. So Ethel sits treating Kelvin to food and even feeds him in his mouth, and she flirts with Angie over him, and she feeds him too, and he becomes trapped between them to the degree that he gets annoyed by what they're doing and yells at them, so he asks them to go home and do whatever they want. And a man sitting there tells him that it is not appropriate to talk romantically in public places, and that it is forbidden for ordinary people to practice relationships in the streets. Kelvin is surprised when he hears and, of course, tells him, "What's it to you?" But it turns out that this is Prince Tabara, who is the prince of a large state, and with him are guards who yell at Kelvin for what he said and how he dares to say, "What's it to you?" to him. But Kelvin gets up and confronts them, and this makes Tabara ask him to give the 2 girls to him so that he can help him, forgive him, and pardon him. And it is clear from this that he is, of course, interested in the girls and is jealous of him, not because of relationships, as he says. But Kelvin doesn't keep quiet and gets up and hits his guards and even pins him down with a spell on the ground and asks him what he is doing in their city. So Tabara is forced to tell him the truth, that he heard about a great warrior who uses magic in the Great Hall, and when he learned this information, he decided to come see him for himself so that he could make him his servant. And he also likes Kelvin's level and tells him that he will become his servant. But Kelvin gets upset by his words and hits him in front of the people, and this makes them admire Kelvin even more. And he, who doesn't pay any mind to it, decides to return home. Angie tells him that she will feed him herself and take care of him. We then transition to the Great Royal Hall, which is in a church, and we see a girl named Celia, who is a priestess in the temple, and she summons Melfiana as soon as she appears on her statue like this. She is happy and asks her about the warriors she brought to this world. So Melfiana informs her that they are all well and also getting promoted in rank. So Celia asks Melfiana to take them to a specific place where she heard there is an evil power there and wants them to go face that power to defeat it. But she reminds her that she must keep them away from the city of Pars so they don't face danger. And when Melfiana leaves, she finds the warriors entering upon her. And when they ask her about what happened, she tells them everything that Melfiana requested from her, a new task that they must do. We leave all this and go to Kelvin, who is talking with Ethel, and she is upset, and he informs her that he is asking Claire to provide another bed for them quickly so she can have her privacy. But Ethel doesn't look at the matter in this way and thinks that he doesn't see her as a woman in front of him. But in truth, Kelvin tells her that she is the most beautiful woman he has seen in his life and is more attractive than the other girls he meets. She becomes very happy and throws herself into his arms immediately and tells him that she didn't know anything about the feeling of family and affection that belonged to her. But he taught her all of this and doesn't want to be away from him ever. The next day, we see Kelvin sitting and looking for data on the heroes who are supposed to come to the city to face the Demon King. Ephil arrives too and is surprised that they are all gathered and asks them if Melfiana has appeared or something. But Kelvin tells her about the heroes who have appeared, and when she looks at their level, she finds it very low, and this doesn't allow them to face the demon if he appears. So they start preparing themselves and collecting tools stronger than what they have so they can confront the Demon King. And while they are sitting, they find Claire knocking on their door and informing Kelvin that the guild is requesting him and wants him for an important matter. Kelvin goes immediately to meet the guild master and discovers that a demon has appeared, but the leader informs them that they don't know what his rank is, but they suspect that his rank is S. So Melfiana tells him that the lowest rank for a demon is B. Kelvin is surprised because the demon he is supposed to face should be stronger than that, but the leader dismisses the topic and asks him about what he did with Prince Tabara. Kelvin becomes embarrassed after what he did to him, especially since he knows that Tabara is a prince and what he did could cause him many problems. But the leader turns out not to know that it was Kelvin who did it, and he says that the person who did it having problems with Tabara might cause them problems with his city, and Kelvin is afraid that he will find out that he was the one who did it. But the leader returns again to the more important topic, which is the demon. The important thing is that Kelvin and his team go immediately to the demon's location, and he finds warriors there who arrived before him and have done something like a barrier around his castle. But the demon hasn't appeared yet, and this has made them standing and watching the house. And they also enter and search in case the demon is hiding inside, but they don't find anything. So Kelvin tells them that they must be ready so that when he appears, they can face him. But they are overconfident in their strength and say that if the demon's rank is less than B, then it won't be important for them at all, and they can defeat him easily. They all go down to a place under the house to search for the demon until they reach a door with a seal on it. But Kelvin senses the presence of two people in the place, not one person. One of them has very weak energy, and the other is very, very strong. So Kelvin thinks about taking advantage of the situation and making the demon his servant. They enter the secret room and find a girl wrapped up, but suddenly the demon Victor appears to them and introduces himself as the main demon. Kelvin is surprised that he says this about himself and talks to himself about how he managed to remain silent for the past period on Earth. And when they ask about the girl who is wrapped up, Victor surrounds the whole place with energy so they can't escape, and they learn that this girl is the daughter of the Demon King. Kelvin is surprised that the Demon King has a daughter and no one knows about her. But Victor tells him that because of the many wars the Demon King entered, he kept his daughter a secret so that no one would use her against him. And he tells them that he is the one who killed all the people in this place and was absorbing their power to turn into a human because he can't leave the room unless he becomes a normal human but with the power of a demon. And he informs them that he will kill them to take all their power. And if he doesn't attack them, he can't hit them all at once like this. So he stops to talk with Kelvin, and they learn that he wants to kill the Demon King's daughter so that at that time he becomes the new Demon King. So Kelvin thinks stuff for a bit like this and says that if he manages to defeat him, he will gain a very great power that he can overcome anyone he faces with. As for the Black Knight, when he sees Kelvin's face, he recognizes that it is the same look he saw in his eyes when he faced him. And when Ethel asks him about what he is saying to himself, he tells her that Kelvin won't rest until he defeats Victor. And every time the same signs appear on his face, it's because he is happy with the new power. Ethel understands that he doesn't give up easily, and this means he is addicted to fighting until he dies. The idea is that Victor has the same look as Kelvin, that he wants to kill him to absorb his power. And because of this, he uses black magic and awakens his army. But every time Victor does something new, it makes Kelvin even happier, because he benefits from this great power if he joins him. So Victor and his demons pass to attack Kelvin and his team, who manage to repel all the attacks with complete ease, and they even kill all of them. And this impresses Victor greatly, and he becomes surprised that Kelvin is still in control. So he understands that he is addicted to fighting, and this is not normal for a person who is still new to the matter, and he asks Kelvin to show him everything he has. At that time, Victor uses his power and creates a fog in the place, and this makes the Black Knight a little afraid. But Kelvin knows that he will attack him from the ground and is ready for any blow. And indeed, Victor appears to him from the ground, but Kelvin repels his blow easily. And Victor is surprised that he managed to anticipate his attack and sees that he is not an ordinary person at all. As for Kelvin, he directs a blow at him, but it doesn't affect him. Kelvin starts talking to himself, knowing that he won't defeat Victor through direct attacks, and that he must direct specific blows at him to overcome him with them. As for Victor, he is busy with the Black Knight and hits him up and down like this. And this makes Kelvin afraid for the night because he can't hold out for a long time, and he thinks about using two powers together to help him and summons the slime and directs a strong blow at Victor, who takes advantage of his great power and extends a long hand to restrain Kelvin with it. But he doesn't succeed because Kelvin knew all of his basic attacks and they managed to repel them easily. And when he tries to restrain Victor, it doesn't last for a long time, but they manage to reduce his power a bit, and this gives them the advantage to weaken his power. But Victor increases the power even more and uses the energy of the Jinn to control him. So they cooperate with each other, all of them, and each one of them brings out the best thing they have, even when they help each other. Like when Victor was about to hit the Black Knight, Ethel hits him with her arrow and knocks him off his feet. Even Kelvin summons the power of the slime and faces a very large blow in the place, and this causes the place to be destroyed and was about to collapse on the Demon King's daughter. And because Victor is still tasked with protecting her with his last bit of energy, he covers the rock and falls to the ground, announcing his defeat before them. But Kelvin goes to talk with him, and they learn that he wasn't going to eat the Demon King's daughter, as he said. And he informs Victor that the Demon King appointed him as her guardian, and from that day, he has been protecting her, and no one could get close to her as long as he was protecting her. So he had to tell him this to motivate him and make him fight seriously with him. And this is what happened now. And he defeated him in return so that he can free the Demon King's daughter from her curse. curse. And he starts telling them an old story from when the Demon King first appointed him as his daughter's guardian. And here we go back, a flashback, several years. And we see Victor playing with the Demon King's daughter, whom he tells that she must remain confined in this palace all the time. She is not allowed to leave it. He even treated her with the best treatment because her father didn't visit her, except every now and then, and she was feeling sad because of this matter. And when the war increased between the Demon King and the enemies, he decided to protect his daughter and cast a sealing spell on her to protect her so she wouldn't fall into the hands of his enemies. Because of this, no one could reach her place, nor could anyone break the curse. And he was waiting for the appropriate moment when the hero would die so that the princess would be freed. We return again to the present, and Victor was fading in spirit, and they learned that when the Demon King died, his spell activated. And from that day, he has been waiting for the hero to die so the princess would be freed until they reached today. And now he is no longer able to protect her or care for her as the Demon King asked him to. And he asks Kelvin to take her into his team. Kelvin is surprised when he hears this request, but Victor informs them that he is a trustworthy person, especially since all his comrades around him believe in him, so no one will be able to get close to him as long as she is with him, and especially since he is a summoner. Kelvin is shocked when he finds that Victor has uncovered this matter, but Victor informs them that it is very obvious because his power is not normal, and they learn that the princess's story is that she has been asleep for a long time because of the seal. But as soon as he breaks the seal, she will wake up, and she will have heard all their talk anyway. So Kelvin offers to heal him and have him get up to complete his mission, but Victor refuses, even though he has escaped death, and he knows that his mission ends here, and he is no longer able to protect her any more than this. And when he dies, the energy shatters from the whole place, and it returns to normal again. And Kelvin goes to break the seal from the princess, and as soon as she wakes up again, she starts screaming and cursing her father and Victor because they were stupid and made her sleep for a very long time. And she, in truth, wanted to see what the outside world was like. She didn't care about this whole war. The important thing is that Kelvin takes her with him to fulfill Victor's request from him, and he brings her out to the heroes and gives them the proof that he defeated the demon. And they learn from the guild. As soon as they see this proof, they understand the matter. As for the princess, he decides to take her with him, but the Black Knight was completely beaten up in the battle, and because of that, he tries to help him and restore his energy, and also makes his rank increase, and this means that he benefits from him more later on. Then he goes to check on the princess, who has finally calmed down compared to before, but she is surprised that he agrees to have the Demon King's daughter as his servant. So he informs her that he needs her with him in his team, and his rank allows him to add anyone without any problems, and he can hide her from the world around him and not let anyone see her abilities at all. After that, they return to the city because the princess, as soon as she goes out to this world, becomes amazed by its appearance and wants to try everything, even human weapons. So he asks Ethel to take care of the princess, and he tells her the story of when he defeated Victor, and this is because he was actually tested by the guild without knowing it, but now he has been promoted to rank 1000, and with this, he becomes a great sorcerer with experience. Even all the people have started cheering his name because he managed to get promoted in rank in a very short time, and when Angie learned about this promotion, she decided to throw a big party and started a competition between Ethel and Claire in the kitchen. As for the princess, she wasn't yet used to the matter, and the party started to end like this. So Kelvin gets up at night from sleep and finds the princess missing. We find her sitting alone outside, remembering when Victor used to promise to keep her happy all the time, and she was wishing to learn swimming. So she decides that she must travel the whole world, see the sea, and try the things she couldn't try under her father's rule. All this, Kelvin was standing behind the window, hearing her talk, and he was happy that she had become responsive to their world, and he is probably thinking about fulfilling her wishes. The next day, Kelvin has new weapons prepared for all of them and gives the princess armor specially crafted by Victor, whom the princess loved very much. So she informs them that she felt like he was fighting with her. As for the Black Knight, he gives him a new sword, a magical zone that has the same properties as the regular sword, but is stronger than it, of course. So the princess asks him about his weapon and Ethel's. So he tells her that it's better to discover it during battle, but for now he wants to eat and sleep because he is tired, and of course Ethel, his servant, has become very skilled in cooking. So she asks him if he wants to eat something specific. So he tells them that he wants to eat rice. And they are all surprised by this request because they don't know what rice means. But he is fascinated by it and wants to eat it by any means. And he keeps describing it as if it were sweets, literally. The important thing is that we see after this, they are going out on a trip. And while they are on the way, the princess sees the sea in front of her and is amazed by it. So Kelvin asks her if she wants to try fishing. Of course, she doesn't know what fishing means, but she becomes happy and wants to try it very much. And when she goes to look at the sea from the carriage, Kelvin informs them that he is doing all this to fulfill the promise he made to Victor, which is to let the princess travel the whole world. But the Black Knight tells him that Melfiana has disappeared again, and Kelvin starts remembering the last day Melfiana was with him. And at that time, she informed him that she was going on a trip to see how far her ability had reached and how she would be able to materialize so they could see her. Here, he informs his team that she has left and that when she finishes her trip, she will return to them again. So they are surprised that she left just like that, and he let her because she is supposed to be part of the team and guide them on the way. But it doesn't take long, and the princess comes back to talk with Kelvin and tells him that there is a ship moving opposite them the whole time, and she suspects that someone is watching them from there. The surprise is that Kelvin already knew and tells her that someone has been watching them since they left the city. And it doesn't take long before a girl appears and stops their vehicle, and also a group of people appear standing behind the tree. They come out to threaten them and tell them to surrender themselves, and they inform them that they are the Black Wind Gang. Of course, they don't know anything about this gang, so they tell them that it is a very famous gang in the city of Tourage. So they stop on the road waiting for anyone passing by to kidnap him and take him with them. But all this doesn't concern Kelvin in any way, and he asks the princess to deal with them. She becomes happy and prepares her armor, but Kelvin tells her to face them without magic because they are not worth it, meaning. And indeed, she listens to him and gets down to face them, and at the same time test her strength. As soon as the gang sees her, they mock her and attack. One of them attacks her and thought he could defeat her easily, but with one blow, the princess sends him flying far away and kills the gang and attacks them. So she hits them back easily, even when another one enters with a big hammer, but she is stronger than him and hits him, and in the end, she eliminates the whole gang and ties them up on the road. But a girl from the gang tells them not to be too happy and that they are the weakest, but their leader is much stronger. So Kelvin approaches her and asks her to tell them about him, and then they reach the city. Finally, and the first thing the princess sees is the vast sea. She is amazed by it and remembers when Victor promised to teach her swimming, but he is no longer here now. Because of that, she asks Kelvin to teach her, and she takes advantage of the fact that Ethel doesn't know anything about this matter. She wants to try it too. So Kelvin tells them that if he didn't have the carriage with him and it had many tools, he would have gone to the beach. But he takes them and they go to the Adventurers Guild in the city, and there they meet the guild's leader, whose name is Misty, and she thanks them for helping them capture the Black Wind Gang because they have been causing them many problems for a long time, and they haven't been able to find them. And she informs Kelvin that she and his guild master, Leo, were comrades in the past, and she is happy that they came on his behalf. But she tells him that the gang's big leader is still out, and until now, they haven't been able to catch him. So the princess gets excited and asks her to tell her his location so she can go catch him. But Kelvin tells her not to get too excited because his rank is 70, and her rank is much lower, and he is not confident that they can catch him, especially since he is a national hero. Here, the princess informs them that she senses someone with very great energy at the city's entrance, and probably like this, he might cause them problems. So they think about leaving it to the hero team to handle this matter so they don't get themselves burned quickly. The hero team arrives at Misty's, and she presents them with the new task, but they are upset because they won't be able to win the task easily, but they try to cheer up. As for Misty, she is not sure if what she is doing is right or wrong, and especially since she is not confident that the team can defeat the monster. And she thinks to herself at the time when Kelvin requested this from her, and we learn that Kelvin wants the hero team to face the monster so he doesn't get involved in a new battle, and this might cause him to lose a lot of energy. At the same time, we see the gang holding some girls prisoner in a jail, but one of them was always bothering these girls. But suddenly, Kelvin enters upon them and threatens them and informs them that he is the one who killed their comrade in the forest. And when they attack him, the Black Knight hits them easily, so the girls thank him for arriving just in time. After a while, we see Christoph, the gang leader, sitting with his assistants, who are somewhat arrogant about their strength, and suddenly Kelvin Kelvin enters upon them, and they are surprised that he is attacking them in their own place. And what's more, his team is able to attack him easily without fear. At the same moment, we see the heroes coming to the same place, but they are surprised that there is no evidence of people here, and they ask why. The guild sent them since they don't sense any danger, and if they find even one person, they can determine the location of this danger easily. And suddenly they find an old room in front of them. When they open the door, they discover the slime, so they decide to attack it. But a girl stands from the hostages in front of them like this, and informs them that this slime belongs to the man who saved them, and she asks them to treat it well. And they learn that there is someone else with them in the place, and they rescue all the hostages, who beg them to go help the other adventurers. And of course, they mean Kelvin and his team, because they are in danger from what they will face. And this is because his power won't be as great as Kristoff's team like this, and they all run to help them. And as soon as they look, they discover that Kelvin and his team have managed to overcome Kristoff and his team. So the adventurers think that Kelvin is the gang leader, and that Kristoff, who died, is the adventurer. And they go to fight Kelvin, who is sitting with his team in Kristoff's place. The idea is that Kelvin doesn't agree to tell them the truth, and also, he asks them to enter a challenge against him, and whoever wins will grant the other a wish. So one of the adventurers wanted to attack him alone, but his team stops him and informs him that his power is not visible to them, and this means he is hiding something from them. And they also inform him that he can't handle him alone. As for Kelvin, he asks his team to sit on the couch and watch him, so they are surprised that he will face them by himself without their help, but he informs them that he wants to try his new tools. So they tell him not to underestimate the adventurer's strength, even if they are lower than him, but surely each one has a secret weapon. But Kelvin didn't care about all of this and wanted to know if these tools would help him or not, and he repels all the adventurer's attacks easily. He begins strong attacks. The idea is that every time one of them uses a specific power, he copies it for himself so that he has a stronger version of it, and he benefits from every power he encounters. The problem is that the whole team is no longer able to handle him, and every time Kelvin's level increases, no one is able to stop him until one of the adventurers remembers the day they took on the mission to save the world, and at that time, they were all together. She reminds them that they went down together for a while to help each other. Otherwise, they won't be able to defeat any danger they face. So they blame themselves that each one of them was looking out for themselves and thinking for the first time without selfishness, and they ask to cooperate with each other to overcome Kelvin, whom until now they haven't thought of as a demon standing before them. The whole team starts cooperating with each other and attacks him all together with the strongest thing they have, and they manage to pin him to the ground. But Kelvin was very smart and able to repel all their attacks, and considers everything he is doing from the beginning as training to strengthen himself. Even the level surrounding him, he breaks it easily, and this makes them surprised that he is much stronger than them. And also, he anticipates their attacks and knows how to get rid of them, and he informs them that he can analyze all their data through his eye easily, and that they have no value to him at all. And when they attack him again, he creates barriers around them that restrain them like this, and he manages to hit all of them with his attacks. And with the last one attacking him, they learn that he must think well and analyze data before attacking anyone. And as a beginning, it's not bad that he wants to save the world, but still, he can't defeat him as easily as he imagines. At that moment, the adventurer faints, and when the adventurer wakes up, he discovers that the little girl is sitting with Kelvin. So he gets up and threatens him and leaves her and goes away. But he discovers that he is not a demon as he thought. He thinks that he is the sorcerer whom the guild sent before them to liberate Heinz. So the adventurer apologizes to Kelvin and says that he didn't know, and he is surprised why he came to them. Since he is not the demon, why didn't they tell them the truth from the beginning? And Kelvin reminds them of the promise that was between them to enter a challenge against each other, to learn from each other's levels, and to know their capabilities from the training. But the truth is, the adventurer didn't remember all of this until Kelvin reminded him of it. And at that moment, he apologizes to him for misjudging him from the beginning. And also they learn that his power is greater than what all of them had imagined, and he asks him to tell him something to do to apologize to him. So Kelvin makes fun of him and tells him to take off his clothes. The important thing is that we see Kelvin, who delivers the gang members to prison himself, and this makes the guild leader, Misty, thank him. And they learn that for a long time they wanted to arrest them, but their strength was less than the gang members. But now, thanks to him, they managed to catch them, and they will give them a severe punishment. And when she asks him where he will go after this, he tells her that he is going to play a game called Punishment. Get ready, because you will be surprised by what you see, my friend. The important thing is that we discover at that moment that he has taken all the adventurers to a cave in the middle of the water to train train them on the new power they are supposed to gain. And this was his wish that he wanted them to fulfill for him so that he can be reassured about the city they will go to after this. And especially since they are tasked with facing the demon, the time means they must be ready at all times. The important thing is that we see the adventurers training on new skills, and they are all happy to gain higher energy to help them eliminate any demon they face. As for Kelvin, he sits watching them from afar to see how they will behave and how in the training. And when Ethel goes and asks him why he is training them, he tells her that they are from the same place he came from and feels at that moment that he is responsible for them and must help them also because Melfiana chose them, and this places a great test upon them and makes them have to be ready for any danger. So Ethel becomes happy that he is so kind and asks to join them in the training that is coming. We return again to the adventurers, who are training their hardest, and after they finish, they find Ethel has prepared a lot of food for them, so they sit to have lunch together and remember the time when they all came to this world and they were sitting. Then they are surprised by the princess, who comes bringing a monster behind her, and it is very upset because it woke up from sleep, so they all decide to cooperate to take down this monster. But this time, they are helping each other, not each one alone. And after they finish the training days, the adventurers start preparing themselves to travel to a new place, and Kelvin gives them badges as a gift from him so that they remember him. So the Black Knight goes and stands next to him, and at that time, Kelvin asks him about a city next to them if they can face it or not. So the Black Knight informs him that he never imagined that he could one day defeat monsters of rank S, but today he can defeat any rank he faces in the world, and this, of course, is thanks to Kelvin, who taught him and increased his strength. So they thank the knight for standing next to him and joining him, and they learn that his team is now much stronger than before and can face any city and any rank they encounter. And when he goes to Ethel, he finds the princess coming running to him, so he asks her what is making her so excited as she comes calling him like this. So she informs him that the guild leader wants to meet him, but he tells her that they came for another purpose and he forgot and achieved it. The princess asks him if his intention was fishing, but Kelvin gets annoyed and tells her his intention was rice, and he gets annoyed with her. Then they go to the royal palace, and there they are surprised by its huge size. And when they enter, they feel a very strong, strange energy inside, but they don't know if what is inside is because of the priests or something else. And because it is a holy place, they take off their shoes and enter and greet the leader. But Kelvin discovers that she is the ruler of the country and reminds them that they took down the gang members who were disrupting everything in the country, and all the people were afraid of them. So the ruler asks them to tell her their wishes, especially since they have done the impossible for them. So there is no harm in giving them a simple gift. But Kelvin tells her that he wants to buy a lot of rice from the country. The ruler is surprised and talks to herself, saying that she thought he was like any hero, but he would covet authority, money, and influence. But in truth, all his requests are simple. And because Kelvin can read thoughts, he senses that she was testing him, but she apologizes to him and tells him that she thought he was like the ordinary heroes who covet everything. And she informs him that he can take the rice he wants without paying anything. And when he finishes, he can send her a message and she will send him more food and rice. And she tells them that she has prepared a table full of food for the occasion and invites them to it. As soon as Kelvin sees the food, especially the rice, he can't control himself and keeps eating to the fullest. And he can't stop eating even after finishing it. Kelvin enters his room and is happy that he achieved his wish, but Ethel enters and asks him if she should bring him more food because he loves food so much. So he asks her to bring him lunch again another time, and when he holds some rice, he is amazed by Ethel's cooking and thanks her for it because she learned Japanese cooking very quickly. But the ruler also enters and sits with him and shares the food with him and informs him that Ethel is very skilled in cooking. Even the best cooks she has are not as skilled as her, and she asks him to let her stay with her. But of course, Kelvin refuses and informs her that Ethel is his assistant, and she doesn't want to stay here and wants to return to the city. But the ruler wants to do anything to keep them with her, so she asks Kelvin, and also for him, to stay with her, and she will appoint him to the highest positions in the city. But Kelvin is not interested in authority and informs her that they must return to their city to face the demons there because their mission is to protect the city. So the ruler thanks him for helping them here and informs him that whenever he changes his mind and wants to return to them, he should tell her, and she herself will receive him. And also the city is open to them all the time. And she informs them that she has a means of transportation that will transport them easily, and she takes them with her to a magical gate that they can travel through to any place in the the world with ease. So Kelvin is surprised that he didn't know about this gate before, but the ruler informs him that it consumes a lot of power from whoever passes through it, and not just anyone can pass through it easily. So Kelvin tells her that if that's the case, they might not be able to use it and his energy would be drained. But the ruler informs them that their card allows them to pass through it without losing any energy, and this is because the guildmaster Leo made it for them specifically. So Kelvin is surprised that Leo didn't tell him about this matter a long time ago and curses him in his heart. And she opens the gate and all of them start entering it and are transported back to the city of Pars. Kelvin returns to the city and goes to Claire's hotel, and she tells him things that happened to him in the city of Tourage. And Kelvin is surprised how she knew when they have just arrived. So they learn that Anji is the one who told her, and she tells everyone she meets. And Kelvin gets very annoyed and decides to buy a new house to accommodate his team. When they arrive at the house, it is very spacious, but he lets each one in. His team choose the room they will sleep in. So the princess chooses a faraway place to stay in alone. As for Ethel, she prefers to stay in a room next to Kelvin's room. And as for the Black Knight, he chooses to stay in the storage room. As for the slime, it decides to take over the courtyard of the house, and each one chooses the place they prefer. As for Kelvin, all his ambitions were to find a bathroom where he could bathe comfortably and change his clothes at ease. And as soon as he finds a swimming pool in his room, he becomes very happy because he can finally bathe after a long time. And after a while, A and Luca arrive, whom Kelvin had advertised that he needed maids and such, and they applied and joined him to serve him. And of course, because he saved them before from the gang, they want to repay him the favor. And at night, Kelvin is tired from all the moving around and returns to his room to sleep. But he decides to go to Claire's hotel to try her food every once in a while. And this is because, of course, its taste is delicious. And he was about to sleep when suddenly he feels someone next to him. So he gets up and finds Melfiana, who has returned from her trip after she managed to find a way to communicate with her companions. And she appears like this, and he thanks her, and her appearance is beautiful. The next day, they all sit to have breakfast together. So Melfiana informs them that she went looking for him at the hotel, but didn't find him. And because of that, she used his power and searched for him until she found him. But the team was surprised by her because it's the first time they see her, and they ask Kelvin about her. And he informs them that she is Melfiana, who was with them and has just returned. But from this moment on, she will be like them and talk to them normally. And of course, they are very happy and spend the day celebrating. After they finish breakfast, they go to sit together and talk. But Kelvin was afraid that she would be exposed when people see her, especially since she is famous with everyone. So Melfiana informs them that she will change her name to another name that they can call her by. And she takes out a magical star and gives it to Kelvin and informs him that this is a gift to increase his power, and he can summon heroes from any other world. And the princess and Melfiana get up to train together. As for Kelvin, he was sitting, thinking about the adventurer team and wants to check on them to see if they arrived safely or not. And he thinks about how he will be able to defeat stronger demons with this new power. By the way, the princess and Melfiana were actually quarreling with each other to see who would sleep next to Kelvin tonight, and the princess was very strong and had increased in experience, so she managed to defeat Melfiana easily. And after they finish, they go to the swimming pool and are enjoying the matter very much. I don't know what the story with the fever is at night. The important thing is that Ethel enters upon them while they are bathing, and they learn that Kelvin is still sitting alone because he is thinking, since he got the power to summon heroes, about summoning someone from his world because he himself wants to see someone he loves. Melfiana understands that he needs her next to him and takes a chocolate for him and goes to feed it to him herself and asks him if he wants to tell her something. So she sits with him and starts explaining to him about the power of the Demon King and that every king among them has two powers, but the two are opposite each other. The first can put the darkness inside him to sleep to the degree that it ruins his story and appearance, and the second can stop everything and turn into an angel. Kelvin is surprised when he hears this and asks her if he can summon someone from another world, especially since when he came to this world, he was able to adapt to it normally. So this means that he might bring someone from his old world. The important thing is that she sits and clarifies the difference to him, and that he might bring someone and might not. So Kelvin sits and thinks about the matter because he feels lonely and wants to see someone from his world. At night, we see him standing in the middle of his team. He has decided to summon someone from his old world. So Melfiana is surprised that he was able to decide so easily because the person he summons might die. But he informs her that he consulted all his team and they all agreed with him. So she explains to him the method by which he can summon the person he wants. And Kelvin starts opening a gate between the worlds and leaves it to determine the person with the specifications he requested. The matter takes a little time for him, but in the end, the gate chooses a little girl. As soon as Kelvin sees her, he is surprised that the gate chose her, but the girl introduces herself, and it turns out her name is Rio. So he tells Rio that he is the one who summoned her to be with him in his team and introduces himself to her. So Rio starts crying, affected by his words, and thanks him for trusting her and bringing her with him. But this makes the Black Knight mock him and ask him if every girl he meets cries like this, then all the girls will love him. But Kelvin no longer knows the reason that makes them cry in the first place, and he is forced to agree to add Rio to his team, even if she is still a child. But Rio can't withstand the energy that was drained from her and faints suddenly. So they learn from Melfiana that the energy that was drained from her was through the gate, and she couldn't withstand all of this because her energy hasn't increased yet. At night, Rio wakes up from sleep frightened and thinks she is dreaming and remembers everything in her old world, but she discovers that she is not dreaming and that everything that happened was real. And at that moment, she goes out running for the first time because she was sick and bedridden in the other world. So Kelvin arrives and sees that she is happy, and he thinks that she is shocked that she came to this world and offers to return her if she doesn't want to stay with him. But she refuses and tells him that she was sick all the time and couldn't go out or see the world except through the window. So she won't let this opportunity slip through. Her hands again, she will stay with him, of course. So he sits with her and informs her that she came from another world, and this makes everyone around her greet her, always. So it's best for them to tell her that she is his sister. So she becomes very happy, especially since she didn't have siblings in the old world. But he also informs her that her name reminds him of someone he is upset with, and he decides to change it for her. So they choose Rion instead of Rio, but she always dreams of him in the novels she reads at night. Kelvin wakes up from sleep and finds the princess sleeping next to him, so he remembers that she brought him the story of who would sleep next to him. But it doesn't take long, and he discovers that Melfiana is sleeping next to him on the other side. But her sleep is very bad because she talks even in her sleep. What surprises him even more is that he finds Royan is also sleeping in her lap, and he is happy that she adapted to the atmosphere quickly because he was worried about her. And he gets up and looks to the future and doesn't know what he will face in the coming period. But all he knows now is that he wouldn't have found an easier life than this in the old world that he doesn't even remember anything about. The next day, he takes the team to the forest to train Ai and Luca in combat and informs them that they must be ready to defend themselves because he won't be with them all the time. And even though he has guards on the house, still matters are not safe, and they must learn something that will benefit them in the long run. And he starts teaching them how to kill monsters easily and discovers that their level increases quickly. The important thing is that Ethel senses a wolf coming towards them and informs Kelvin about it. So he asks Ryan if she has been close to dogs before, but they learn that she only saw them from a distance. So Kelvin decides to show her how he faces monsters so she can see what he does. And he gets up and faces the wolf alone, but defeats it very easily without fighting it because he wants to make a contract with it. And the whole team is amazed by Kelvin's level, and they are also happy that they now have a wolf they can play with. After a while, Ethel senses someone coming towards them, and when she looks with her eye, she discovers that Oro and his team are arriving. They find Kelvin's whole team sitting, and he is impressed that he has many girls with him, while their team is all men, and they lament their luck because they can't get even one girl in the team with them. But Kelvin lets his team introduce themselves to him, and this makes them even more jealous because they find a sister, a nun, an assistant, maids, and even children in Kelvin's team, and they no longer have even a dog to comfort them, and they become very sad because they wish they had Data like them too. Kelvin returns with the team to apologize to Oro for causing problems in his team, but Oro didn't even pay attention to it and tells him that his team has become stronger and deserves to get rank S now. And this is the highest rank a sorcerer can get, so he thanks Kelvin because Leo didn't agree to tell him about this matter so that he could make an exam for him like the previous one. He goes to protect the wolf that Rion chooses a name for, Alex, so they can call him by it later. The team grows bigger every day than the day before. They are all very happy about this matter, even. The knight calls Ryan to teach her fencing and takes her to the arena. As for the princess, she goes to fish as she wished, and everyone is happy and content with the matter. At night, everyone is sleeping until Kelvin wakes up and is informed that there are 14 people loitering around the palace, and they suspect that they want to do something. So Kelvin looks at them from afar and finds their rank is very low, but he reassures that everyone is in their place and asks Ryan and Alex to go to the gate to face anyone who enters from it, and they divide the roles among themselves. So he gives Ryan a sword that he made specifically for her and lets her enter and stand at the gate. She is happy that her life has become valuable and wants to repay the favor to Kelvin. At the same time, we see the gang wanting to take revenge on Kelvin for imprisoning the leader Kristoff and not wanting to stand against their gang again. So they attack the palace and Ryan faces them, but Kelvin is standing watching her from the window, and he is very impressed with her and her increasing strength. Finally, when the gang leader feels that his team is about to lose, he tries to call them to escape, but Kelvin appears to him from behind and informs him that his little sister has killed the whole team, and now he must face him. At this time, we go to the rulers' meeting, and among them is Tristan, who wants to start a world war to unify the entire continent. But the problem is that the ruler of Ajar is afraid of the matter and rejects the idea in general, except for a few who support the decision and want to resist the war to see how far their strength has reached. And they assign one of them to stand against Kelvin and his team, because if they defeat him, they will be able to defeat the rest of the team. We return again to Kelvin, walking with his team on a path in the forest, and he is going to the elf village. Ethel feels that she has seen this place before. At that time, Kelvin reminds her that half of her is from the elves originally, meaning she is supposed to be related to this area from long ago. At that time, he remembers Leo's words with him about the war, and that there is a group of rulers who might start a specific war to seize many places on the continent in hopes of unifying it under their banner. And this war will be specific to the demons, and their mission is to stop this war by any means. At that time, Kelvin feels that this mission is the most important mission he will do in his life, and that he faced all that passed for this particular battle. Suddenly, while he is walking absent-mindedly like this in his dreams, he is surprised by many arrows shooting at them from everywhere. So Kelvin takes out the document he has and asks the villagers to allow him to enter on the grounds that he has official permission from the ruler Leo. At that time, the village chief appears and apologizes to Kelvin and informs him that the news of his arrival reached him, but he didn't know what he looked like. And when Ethel appears before them, the chief is surprised that she is still alive and shocks everyone that he knows Ethel like this. But it doesn't take long, and the chief takes back his words and says that he thought she was another girl. And Kelvin tells him that she is from his team, but he asks him to tell him the story of the girl he is talking about, so he might know Ethel's original city. So he starts telling him her story, and they learn that one day they were facing a fire-type fighting dragon, and on that day, it destroyed many places for them. So it attacked them and was about to kill them, until this girl stood in front of it and asked Nono to turn her into the thing she wanted in exchange for him sparing her village. But the dragon didn't agree and offered her something else, that she agreed to become his wife. And at that time, he would forget what happened. And indeed, on that day, the girl agreed and went with him. And from that day, they knew that she would not return. And from that time, they forgot her, but didn't forget what she did for them. And from that day, they want to repay her the favor. And one day, they found her corpse in the forest. So they knew that the dragon would come looking for her again. And because of that, they moved from their old forest to this forest to hide in it. Ethel replies to him and informs him that she is not the girl he means. So the chief becomes happy that she is not the same girl he is talking about, and is reassured that the dragon won't come to attack her again. And he talks with Kelvin, who tells him about the war, and that they have been in a war with the demons for a long time, but they no longer have the strength to keep continuing in this war. And because of that, they made barriers on the village borders to prevent the demons from entering. So Kelvin tells him that there's a spell now that cancels all these barriers, and with this, they are exposed to danger at any time, and he asks him to use all his power to help them. So the chief allows him to do whatever he wants in the forest as long as he protects them. At that time, they decide to make many traps to strengthen their village's defenses. At night, we see Tristan's soldiers entering the forest and searching for the elf village, but suddenly they find fire being shot at them from everywhere. The commander is surprised, especially since the elf village is far from them, but many of them are dying, and we discover that Kelvin and his team are the ones hunting them from afar and made many traps everywhere to prevent anyone from reaching the village, like the fog village that deceives whoever enters it, and the water that is like fire water. Even the walls and barriers have become stronger than before, and the Black Knight stands at the gate to kill anyone who passes through all these traps immediately. The important thing is that Afiel hits her target target with all skill as if she sees them close to her. As for this army, one of them escapes and returns to the deputy commander to report to him what happened, and they learn that they are being attacked from everywhere. So the deputy commander requests a horn with him, and it is a secret weapon they use in times of danger to summon a giant monster with it. The important thing is that Ryan, Alex, and Melfiana reach the deputy commander, and they want to kill him, but he blows into the horn, and a giant monster appears, and Melfiana asks Ryan to attack it with Alex, especially since if she defeats it, she will deserve the title of adventurer and increase her rank. So Ryan gets encouraged and runs with Alex towards the monster. As for Melfiana, she decides to face the deputy commander alone to get rid of him, but Ryan can't hit the giant, and it breaks her sword too. She remembers Melfiana's words and takes out the sword that Kelvin gave her and attacks the monster with it, and indeed she manages to defeat it, but the monster had a hidden power and turns into a large mass of fire that no one can stand before. So the princess asks to enter and help Ryan, but Kelvin prevents her and tells her that he trusts her. Indeed, Ryan manages to hit the monster with one blow that knocks it down, and she defeats it. So everyone becomes amazed by her strength that appeared suddenly. So Kelvin informs them that she has been training for a long time and managed to reach an advanced stage of training, but it doesn't take long. And another person appears before them and directs a blow at them, but Kelvin repels it. We discover at that time that it is Clive, whom we saw a while ago, and the ruler's son is going to call for him, but he comes to attack Kelvin and his team to defeat them. And when he sees Ethel, he tries to enchant her so she joins him, but Kelvin gets upset with him and asks Ethel to hide in their fortress. As for him, he pounces on Clive, and a very big fight breaks out between them. Each one uses his real power to defeat the other. At that time, Clive's whole team appears around Kelvin, who discovers that they are enchanted by Clive. Because of this, he asks his team to help him, but without killing them. And at that time, they are surprised by a large arrow that breaks Clive's barrier. So we know that Ethel is the one who did this. And Kelvin takes advantage of the opportunity, and the whole team gathers around him, and a very strong confrontation breaks out between them. But it doesn't take long, and this confrontation becomes very secret because their powers are similar. And Kelvin also remembers some memories from his previous life, so he attacks him with all his strength and manages to wound him. At that time, Clive gets angry and uses his strongest spell, but all that mattered to Kelvin was that Ethel's garden doesn't get destroyed. Everyone is standing watching, amazed by what is happening before them, until Kelvin uses his spell that was meant for the ages, as they say, and splits Clive in half, and before he finishes him off completely, Tristan appears to him and stops him and tells him that he was the one who made the decision to attack the elf village, meaning he has no reason to kill Clive because he is not guilty, and he asks him to forgive him in exchange for letting them live in peace again, and he announces their defeat before him and takes Clive with him and disappears after Kelvin defeats Clive. The whole village rejoices for him and throws a big party in his name. At the same time, we see Tristan imprisoning Clive in a cell after he brought him back again, but he tortured him just because he lost and caused them great embarrassment in front of everyone. On the other hand, we see the villagers celebrating Kelvin, and Ethel offers him a lot of food, and she asks him and stays by his side, as she was used to with him from the beginning. After a while, we see his team gathering, and with them is a little girl, and as soon as she sees Kelvin, she runs and hugs him without any introductions like this, and she starts laughing in a strange way to surprise him that she is the leader Leo, and that he was hiding in the body of a little girl to watch him the whole time and see him win in the battle. And they learn that he has reached the highest rank in magic, and with this, he can face stronger monsters at any time. And they also learn that they will make contracts in another 4 days, and that in this time, he will be ready for any confrontation, because from now on, he will face anything that appears to him without taking anyone into account. It is clear from Kelvin that he is very happy with this news and waits impatiently, saying, "What does that mean? What does that mean? Because he wants to get promoted more than this? How? You've closed everything, man. Where are we going to get other ranks from, son?" And with this, my friend, our anime for today ends. I hope you liked it, and wait for us in other animes. So, my friend, your cool like and your awesome subscription, and I'll see you in a new video. Peace be upon you.